What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Sistas Season 1, Episode 23. Is this show ever going to end? Anyway, so this episode, we start off where we left off last week with old girl falling off the parking deck, and you know, Gary running down. Excuse me. Gary running down to the car. Am I the only one that peeped the fact that the car, somebody turned the alarm off to the car as soon as he got to the bottom of the landing? Like, whose car was that? It was just sitting there. It wasn't in a parking space. It was just sitting out in front of the park. Like, whose car was that? Why was it sitting where it was sitting? Even though it did break her fall, but it don't matter. But anyway, so of course they have this moment. He calls the police, 911, but of course he doesn't give his name. It don't matter because it's two women up on the balcony, up on the deck looking over, and I'm sure they got pictures of him and all that other good stuff. But it don't matter. He waited and he rode with her to the hospital. And of course she's doing the, why'd you do this to me? Why'd I do this to you? Because you was beating me with a bat, and you was pouring my mama's ashes, and you was burning my car, and you was beat. Like, why did I do this to you? Why you do this to me? Like, huh? I mean, he didn't just pick you up and throw you over the balcony. I'm just saying. So, why did you do this to me? Why did you want to be with her? You made me go have an affair. It was all your fault. Blah, 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 blah. He gets to the hospital. He calls Andy to come down to the hospital. Now, in the meantime, Andy is down at the office because remember they called her down there for a meeting with the partners to find out what they were going to do. Now, here's the thing. Even under the best of circumstances, I don't know what made Andy think she was going to keep her job. Like, I understand that the charges were dropped and they not going to sue and all of that. But at the end of the day, because you didn't snitch out your boss, you still took a case you should have never took. There was a conflict of interest. You knew it was a conflict of interest and you took the case. So even if nothing else went past that, that was still a fireable offense. So she rolls up in there, and I mean, she almost walks up in there like she expects him to be like, okay, everything's been cleared up. Just going back to work. Your files are on your desk. I'm like, what? But it did go worse than I think she expected it. Now, y'all gonna have to put this in the comments and let me know, did any of this make sense to y'all? Because it did make sense to me. So she's sitting there with the partners and with her boss or whatever, and he was like, yeah, well, it seems that, you know, Gary's wife wants to drop the charges. I spoke with her attorney, but I encouraged him to sue, because we're going to use you as an example, because we've been hiring women and minorities, but we're going to use you as an example. I guess that we did it wrong, and that we're going to we've already hired a PR firm, and we're going to have this whole campaign of we're going to do better. Did that make sense to any of y'all? Because that whole conversation made no sense to me. Nobody in their right mind is going to encourage somebody to sue their company. Not a company that they still a part of. Not a company that they still... Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And if y'all can make it make sense to me, please do. None of that conversation made sense to me. We hired a minority and it didn't go well, so we have a PR firm that's going to help us tell people we're going to do it better in the future. Like, none of that shit made sense to me. So then now all of a sudden Andy wants to... because I guess she really thought she was going to keep her job after she got them to, got Morris to drop the charges and stuff. Now she talking about now she wants to throw her boss under the bus, talking about something. What are you talking about? You know you were the one that told me to keep the case, blah, 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 boo. That ship has sailed. It is much too late for you to try to play that game now. If you didn't get him on tape, or get some sort of evidence of him making you take that case and threatening to fire you, if you didn't take that case, you didn't throw him under the bus at the first chance you had that opportunity, when y'all first met, when y'all all met with the lawyers the first time, when he even said to you, why did you do that? You saved my ass. If you didn't have him on tape, on audio, videotape, when he admitted then, there is nothing you can do now, because the partners let her know real quick, I can't believe that you are doing this. He was your only advocate. He was trying to convince us that we should give you a severance package that we were against, and we had agreed to give you something, and you dogging this man out that had your back. How dare you? And they got up and left and was like, you handle this. I was like, Andy, my bad. This whole scene made no damn sense to me. I'm serious. So then, now, him and Andy are alone, and he was like, I wish you wouldn't have done that. And she was like, I'm ready to fight. He was like, and basically he told her, boo, it's too late. It's just too late. Like, you have nothing to fight with. Well, I'm ready to fight. He was like, look, are you going to take the severance package? Go to hell. No, I'm not taking no severance package. He was like, look. He said, that's the thing with you young lawyers. Y'all think it's about winning. It's about surviving. I know that now. Then she talks to the receptionist, and the receptionist tells her about the meeting with the private eye at the club later on. And that's when she gets the phone call from Gary telling her to come down, asking her to come down to the hospital. And he gave her half the story. He told her what happened, and then she was on her way to the hospital. Yeah, none of that made no damn sense to me, but okay, it's whatever. She gets down to the biggest thing that happened in this episode was them. She gets down to the hospital, and he tells her what happened, and she basically lets him know, look, this is outside of my wheelhouse. Let me call somebody who I think can help you, who has a little more experience, blah, blah, blah. This is what he does. And of course, now Gary got an attitude. Well, who is he? Dude, you about to go to jail for attempted murder. Now you jealous? Now you worried about who this is, and you jealous? And he giving her a hard time, and of course she's looking at him. Now here's the thing, rewind for a second. She walked into the hospital, and the first thing was, did you hit her? Well, did you hit her? Did you hit her? See, you might not need to be dating somebody that the first thought is that he hit his ex-wife, or soon to be ex-wife. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I mean, if that's what your first thought was, maybe that ain't who you need to be with. Okay. Then, like I said, they get into this spat where he's worried about whether this is who this guy is, rather than worried about whether he's good, how many cases has he won, how many people have he got off death row. Like, those are the questions that I would be asking. You worried about whether he got a thing for your girl. He shows up, and then of course he does exactly what he don't need to do. He flirting with Andy, but and so of course Gary was like, dude, I don't need you. We'll get another lawyer. Like, you look like you 10 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, he can't be no older than your woman who you wanted to represent you to begin with. And then dude was like, all right, you don't want my help? Okay, cool. So Andy, what's up? Like, when you want to catch up? It's been good. It's been a long time, like old times. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, read the tea leaves. Clearly, they are a couple. And even with Andy was like, no, it's cool. No, I'm sorry. No. Oh, come on. We had a good thing going. All right. Like, are you serious? Like, generally speaking, I know for myself, if I walk up on a couple, a guy and a girl, relatively in the same age group, they seem like they have some sort of situation, I'm going to assume they're dating until they tell me different. They could be brother and sister for all I know. But until I find out they brother and sister, I'm going to assume that they are a couple. And I'm going to act accordingly. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to be sitting there flirting with some dude that's standing with another woman. Like, are you crazy? And dude, read the tea leaves. She was trying to be nice and let you know in a real nice way, this ain't going to happen. Anyway, so of course then Gary tells him, this is my woman and you being disrespectful, leave us alone, whatever. So now Andy embarrassed. Really? She calls Samantha. No, I'll take that back. Samantha gets a phone call, and it's Maurice. Maurice is awake. She goes to the hospital to visit him. And, they have a moment. Of course, she does her whole, I'm sorry, I gave you his number. He was like, girl, this ain't on you. Come to find out that they arrested the dude. Maurice didn't go down without a fight. The dude had 2 black eyes and all that good stuff. But then they have this moment where he explains to her that, his drag family that's his family, and they've always been there for him through everything, and that this ain't nothing new, that because of who he is, he's had to deal with pain and rejection and all of this. And then she says, oh my gosh, how can people be so ignorant? And he was like, you need to look in the mirror. What does that mean, Maurice? That means that you need to look in the mirror because you need to stop judging that dude. Oh, the dude that's in my bed right now in some regular boxer shorts, because him. Anyway, so they have this whole moment. Whatever. It felt forced. Whatever. Anyway, they had this whole moment. And then we have Danny and Zach. Danny's still in her feelings because she ain't heard from Preston. All right, now, in the beginning, I was defending you, Preston, because I was like, Danny told you to back up. Danny told you not to call. But what you don't do is roll out of somebody's bed before they wake up, and don't call them and don't get into no contact with them if you interested. That's a surefire way to make somebody feel like all they were a booty call. So now, Preston, I was defending you, but now you done went too far with this whole, I'm going to give her space. She asked me not to call so much. She asked me not to be a pest. You doing too much. You pushing this whole situation a little too far, okay? I was working with you, but now you done it. Her and Zach, they always have a good banter. And there was a little moment about them going to the club and him giving her some money and then having money and buying the steak and not buy. It was cute. It was a cute little back and forth. But then, knock on the door. And who is it? It's Karen's mother. I think Marie, it's Karen's mother. And Karen is telling him, look, get your shit together. Like, you really about to blow this whole situation with my daughter. He was like, I already did. She with old boy. She was like, no, he about to make a move on her though. Oh, he already made his move. And she was like, no, he didn't. I know my daughter. My daughter didn't lie to me. His wife was already unstable. They ain't sleeping together. But you need to get it together. You really need to get your shit together. He was like, well, what you want me to do? I mean, she don't want me no more. What you want me to do? She was like, all right, then bye. And then he gonna say, well, what? Well, why you leaving so fast? She said, look. And I felt like, her thing was, I can't want this more than you want this. Like, I'm here trying to help you figure it out. I'm here trying to tell you what you need to do to get your woman and keep your woman and get your woman back. And you want to play games with me. So you know what? I ain't got time for this. I ain't about to sit here and argue with you about this whole thing. So then she tells him, like, look, what is your plan? What do you want to do with your life? I've been to jail. It ain't many options out there for me. She was like, I mean, that's your excuse? Because you're not the first, the last, or the only. Okay? People of color, we know how the criminal justice system is. So that is not an excuse for you to just say you're going to give up on your life and you're just not going to make no plans for the future. Like, that is no excuse. Then he going to say, well, I ain't had my daddy growing up. She was like, okay, ain't. Whole lot of people ain't had their daddy growing up and they are fine. Samantha ends up going down to the hospital to check on Andy. Andy tells her to leave, that she don't need her there, that she all right, whatever. It's. Then Samantha talks to Danny. Danny says she gonna come over. Samantha was like, well, I got company. Danny was like, what that got to do with me? But then Danny went to the club. I don't know. It was just a lot. It was just a lot going on that I was as confused as it is about. And then Karen is having dinner with old boy, and they basically having the same damn conversation for the third time. I was, is it bad that I was relieved that she died? Is that bad? No, that's not bad. I understand. Oh, good. I'm glad. Blah blah blah. Da da da. Boo boo boo. Da da da. Da da da. Like, it was just. I'm sorry, y'all. This review sucks. But this episode sucked. So we're even now. Last but not least, and I'm gonna put y'all out y'all misery so I can be out of mine. But last but not least, as they're sitting there, the police roll up on Andy and Gary in the waiting room at the hospital, and they arrest him for not attempted murder, but murder. Yeah. Wifey dead. So we're gonna see how this works out. Now I got a question. They had no cameras in that parking lot. None. No cameras. I'm just saying. All right. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments, please.